Hi, I'm Dylan Paris. I'm a musician and a content creator. I work in technology, but in my free time, I like to make songs and videos here on YouTube. I've got music on Spotify, as well as basically anywhere else you can stream or buy music. And I've been doing this for quite a while. I started releasing music publicly in 2009, and I haven't really stopped making stuff since. In the time since then, I've definitely grown and improved as an artist, and there are definitely things I've learned that I think could be beneficial for other people. I'm the type of person that I have to go do a dumb thing or make a mistake myself before I'll actually learn the lesson. And something I've been thinking about a lot is balancing personal finance with the desire for new products and new experiences. There have definitely been times in my life where I had thousands of dollars in credit card debt and like nothing in my savings account. And the debt wasn't necessarily just paying rent or buying food. It was buying gear or video games or other things I thought I needed or just really wanted at the time. And I was lucky enough to come out of that pretty unscathed, mostly due to a combination of hard work and luck that have allowed me to get jobs that can finance this and keep me relatively safe. But looking at my savings account today, it's nowhere near where I want it to be. I goofed up on my taxes a little bit. I ran the IRS calculator and thought I could take a certain amount of allowances that I most certainly could not. And I find my savings account a lot lower than I want it to be right now. My YouTube channel is monetized, but it's not making me wild amounts of money. When I started this, I figured my first months of monetization would be like $5 a month. And in general, I get more like 80, which is awesome. I have to be ready for like half of that to go away through taxes or whatever, but it's still really cool to be making any money from doing this. And I make more in a month doing YouTube than I've made in almost my entire career doing music, which is wild. But I wanted to talk a little bit about personal finance from the perspective of a musician and a content creator, with the big acknowledgement that I work a full-time job. I work 40 hours a week, 8 to 5. I am very grateful to be able to do my job from home during the quarantine times. And I'm sure if you're like me, this year has been very trying, this year and last year, when it comes to not buying things to try to distract yourself. I've had coworkers and other friends be like, you know what, this is a hard enough year, treat yourself. And treat yourself can be good, but I think we should also think about treating ourselves as making sure we're ready if something bad happens. If an unexpected expense comes up, you don't want to be in a position where one bad thing can throw off your entire world. From a pretty early age, I found myself in a position of being reliant on strangers or acquaintances for help to get through hard times. And I found myself never wanting to be in that position ever again. It's always great to know that there are going to be people out there who can help you, but I really like the feeling of never needing that help and maybe even someday being the one who helps. And so this is all pretty dramatic, but I want to talk about gear acquisition syndrome and how it works as essentially an opposing force to financial responsibility when it comes to personal finance. Gear acquisition syndrome, or the desire for new things, the desire for new gear, the shiny new object comes out and you have to have it. You know, I've experienced it a lot with phones and computers, tablets, video game systems, and I've definitely experienced it with music gear. If you've been watching my channel recently, then you know I've swapped a lot of gear out. Over the course of 2020, I had a Digitone, a Digitact, an MPC Live once, another MPC Live, an SP404, a Wave State this year, Ableton Push 2 this year, an MC707, which belonged to Red Means Recording, which was really cool, and I definitely regret getting rid of that, honestly. But it was a lot of gear, and the way I was doing that was by putting it on long-term finance credit cards with no interest. Now, if you're gonna finance stuff, in my opinion, that's the only way to do it, is on a card with no interest for like a year or a year and a half, and you pay it off before it would ever accrue interest. It's essentially giving yourself an interest-free loan, but really, in hindsight and moving forward, I really recommend you don't do this. I'm not gonna do this anymore. This is me recording this, but I've already been not doing this for a little while. Make sure that your gear acquisition syndrome doesn't throw into jeopardy your personal finance. That's my recommendation. Obviously, I'm not an expert. I took a college course, and I think everyone should have to take personal finance in high school because it's really important to have that kind of financial literacy whether or not you like the system we're in, I think most people can agree it's broken and kind of messed up. It's good to know what you're stuck in so that you know how to operate in it. That's not what this video is for. There's a lot of people doing really good personal finance videos. I recommend folks like Matt D'Avella, Graham Stephan, and plenty of other folks who are doing great stuff when it comes to being smart with your money. I will say that I'm also not a financial extremist. I'm not, Dave Ramsey, whose videos I did get really into for a while, but I hate the idea that I will work extremely hard for 40 to 50 years so that I can spend 20 of my least functional years doing nothing. The American dream of retirement sounds like a nightmare to me. Obviously, it's better than nothing. Given the choice between no food and a terrible meal, I'll choose the terrible meal because I don't want to friggin' starve, but I'm not gonna necessarily enjoy that, and I don't want to spend my whole life working towards that. So I think it's important to balance debt and experiences, to balance money and experiences, to find what works for you. The more I grow, the more I learn as a person, as an artist, just in general, the more I realize that everything in life is a balance. You're constantly juggling between sleep and work and fun and friendship, relationships, money. There's so much you have to think about and so much you have to figure out for yourself. No one person can really tell you what the right balance is for you. The three things you're juggling are security, meaning, and freedom. It's really, really hard to have full security and real freedom. It's really hard to have full security and meaning. That usually means getting a full-time job that you love doing, but that usually also means limiting yourself. I think something that's important to think about when you buy new gear, think about what happens after that new experience. When I used to buy gear, I used to just get really excited, read a bunch of reviews, watch a bunch of reviews, read only the good reviews. I didn't want to look at the negative information, and I would buy a product and I would enjoy it so much for a few days, for a few weeks, and then the glow would burn away and I would just be left with the things I hadn't paid attention to or looked at, and I would be bummed out. It's part of why my album is called There's Something Better. It was the feeling that the grass is always greener, that no matter what, there's always going to be a better product or a better experience, and you're always living in the future thinking about what's next. I have been learning to be more critical, but also more appreciative. I try to appreciate more of the things I have, to really understand the nuances of them. How do things work? What can I learn from this? What else is there to explore? This is applicable in your friendships, it's applicable in your gear, it's applicable in many different aspects of life. And when it comes to the critical part, that's for new purchases specifically, things that are going to cost money to take away value that you already have and invest into something else. I try to read the bad reviews now. I try to read the worst reviews. I try to be more honest in this channel. I've got videos where I tell people don't buy an iPad Pro because I'm sick and tired of YouTubers who have like an iMac and a MacBook Pro 17 and 3 Windows gaming laptops trying out an iPad for a week and saying, this can be your only computer. Well, I made it my only computer for half a year to run a YouTube channel, and I can tell you no. Don't do that. You don't need to do, there's so many better options. I try to be critical. I try to stay honest. And yes, I have stay honest tattooed on my arm. It's currently my only tattoo. It's cheesy, but it is kind of my guiding principle. I want to be an honest person with myself. I want to be an honest person with you, with the people in my life, how I live my life. So this has been kind of a stream of consciousness. But what I hope you're thinking about, if you've made it all the way here, is what do I have that I could learn more about and more from already? If I'm looking at a new piece of gear, what will this actually do that I can't do today? What will this change that would be for the better? And what would this change that would be for the worse? Do I want this new gear because 10 reviewers got review units and shot basically free advertisements for this company with the prettiest camera angles you've ever seen? Or do I want this gear because it's actually good gear and it would actually, change my workflow and it's a good value? Have these kind of conversations in your head. Be the advocate for the person who wouldn't buy it just as much as you are the one who would. Because if you can have that honest conversation with yourself about your needs and what you want, you're going to enjoy what you have more. And when you do choose to get something new, you're going to do it hopefully in a fiscally safe way and in a way that brings real value to yourself and to your workflow. Anyway, this is a little bit of a change of pace. Consider liking and subscribing, all that good YouTube stuff, and I hope you have a great week ahead. All right, see you next time.